Hey everyone, welcome back. So in the last video we covered how to make your basic homepage very rough and ready. We'll improve this over time. I thought in this course, I think our next kind of priority is to actually create a couple of the course and purchase pages. So if we kind of look to the end result as to where we need to be, going back to another example, we've kind of got our home page ready to go, which to summarize was kind of our, summarize what you're offering, get them excited, overview video, summary of topics, and then funnel through to the purchase and try free pages, which we did in our example over here. A lot of placeholders, a lot of work to do, but the building blocks are there. So the next step, I think what we need to do is we need these three kind of pages here, which is number one, which is our kind of trial page, which gives the user a taste of what the full course looks like. So it could actually just be a replication of your full course, but just with a limited amount of videos in it, and maybe access to some topic overviews as well. Now we also need a purchase page. So we need a page where we can click on it. After someone's actually tried the course, it's going to redirect them to this to actually purchase the course. This is where they sign up, they click purchase, and then they'll have access to view the full course, which otherwise, if they're not logged in, having had purchased the course, they won't be able to view the full course page. So let's get started with the actual purchase page, which is the earlier page I just showed you a moment ago. So this purchase course page over here. So let's get started by doing this. Let's have a look at what pages we've already got in the template. So we've got, by clicking on this menu button, we know that we've got the site. So we've got the home, which we're on right now. We've got video courses, private sessions, plan pricing, about, contact, and items. So if I just click through a couple of these, because we've just inherited a couple of pages from the straight template, we can probably get rid of some of these. So this one here, video courses, it looks like they've given us a page which is just a summary of the different course options they've got, and maybe some teaser videos. So this is an interesting way of actually presenting it. We might actually keep it. We might have a play around with how we want to present the free course a little bit later, whether we want to do something like this. You could do this and just change the video to a couple of sample videos. That's not a bad way of doing it. For now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to hide this page, because I'm probably going to create one from scratch. But it's also interesting to keep it there just in case I change my mind, or if I want to have to play around with templates, etc. All right, so I'll move that to the end so I don't get confused. Okay, this one here, private session. This looks like a feature which is the bookings feature of Wix, which we don't want to do. And that's when, maybe you want to have one-on-one, time with a mentor or something like that. People can book in an hour with you for X dollars an hour. We don't want this feature. And the reason is because it's not scalable. So we want to have a business that's scalable in that, you don't need to be involved. It's all automated. If you're doing one-on-one kind of training sessions, you can only fit in so many of these each day, and it means that you actually have to put in work. So we don't want to do that. We want to have an automated course. So we're going to get rid of the Wix bookings app, and we can do that just by deleting the page that it came on. So that's all good so far. So wait for that to be deleted. It's a little bit slow just because I'm recording my screen at the same time. Now, moving on to plans and pricing. And this is very similar to kind of the purchase page that I showed you before, where we've got the Wix subscription app on here. And that allows you to actually sell certain courses, link up which pages you want to have access to. And you can set the fees to be, a one-off purchase price, or it could be a recurring fee, whether it's $10 a month, or it's $100 a year if it's a one-off cost of $100, $200. So I actually like the way that they've actually laid it out down here. So I might actually keep this page as is for my purchase, but I might just rename the course page to be purchase course, just to be consistent with my other one. So there we go there. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag this a little bit down, just get a little bit more space here. Now what we can do later if we want to is add a couple of strips, and whether we want to add some more sell side here, so that whether that's a kind of a video just reminding them of the benefits, whether it's a copy and paste of that section where we linked it into kind of each of the topics we go through in the video just to kind of sell them a little bit more, or alternatively maybe we just leave it blank as is, so there's only one section to the page, there's nowhere else they need to click, and we leave the other pages to do the sales funnel work for us. And when I say sales funnel, I mean you're trying to push the customer along a journey. So we get them to visit our site initially on the homepage, get them excited enough about the topic, to click further, or through your call to action, click on a button that then takes them to the next page. And by getting them invested and getting them to go through these very tailored hoops, you can kind of push them in a certain direction, which is towards purchasing your course. So for now, I'm happy to leave this kind of template as is. What I might do is I'll just change this strip background color to match our site theme. So I'm just going to change the color here to be a light purple, like that. And maybe I'll change that later, but I think that looks kind of nice for now. And then, once this goes live, we'll just have a single course, or maybe we'll have multiple courses. So the next step to do is actually to create your plans. So they've got 3 default plans there as a template. For now, I think we only want one. We want just the access to our full course, but it depends on what you're building. I've got training sites which offer, a different course for example, for the postgraduate course that I provide online tutoring for, I've got a separate course for each of those that people can purchase. So I'll have multiple purchase options there. However, this type of program, and very similar to the Excel course, we're only selling one single course that we're trying to push the customer towards. So we're only going to do one here. Now, we're going to have to do a few things to actually get these live on our website, aside from creating the plans. Number one, we're going to need a premium subscription with Wix, right? So we'll step through that shortly. Number two, we're going to have to actually connect some sort of payment provider so that we can actually collect payments on our website. And again, we're going to need to have a premium Wix account before we can do that. Typically, how I do this is I'll connect my Stripe account and my PayPal account. So, typically that covers all the options of payment. So people, if they want to have a credit card payment, that'll go through Stripe. If they want to pay from their PayPal account, that'll go through PayPal. It's pretty much all you need. So for now, let's start off with creating our memberships. I'm going to delete the other ones. So I only want one of these. So you can't actually delete it, you can only archive it, which means that you can basically bring it back if you want to, or alternatively you can hide it. So there's still a plan there, but no one can actually see it. Typically what I do for hidden plans is I might have a free option in there somewhere. So if I want to give someone free access to a course, or perhaps give it to an account that I can control and not having to actually purchase the course again, I might create a free hidden account. But for now, what we're going to do is we're just going to have a single one. I'm just going to click edit here. And I'm going to try and basically replicate this. I'm going to call it, full course, learn to sell online courses. Something like that. There is a character limitation though, so I think I've reached that. So what we can do is just call full course, and maybe we'll just leave it at that, or call it access if there's enough characters for that. Yep, so that looks pretty good. Okay, and then get access to the full course on how to create and sell your, okay, I think I've reached the character limit there, 20. Get access to the full course on how to sell courses online. Do I have enough space for that? Online, perfect. Get access to the full course on how to sell courses, course on how to sell courses online. Oh, that's good enough for now. We can always change it later. Okay, next, list what's included in this plan. So if you have a look, what we included in here, we've got runtime of the videos, the rating, the ability to watch it on certain access, lifetime access, videos for all skill levels. For me, we want the benefits, so I might just quickly refer back to some of the points I had on the main page. So, learn to develop your own course. Make or create a second stream of income, automated income. Earn make sales whilst you sleep. Learn what topics you can teach. Understand or use our ready template to make sales immediately. Step-by-step plan on how to create your course. Look, I'll play around with those wording later, and so can you. So you can kind of customize what points you want to put in there. That's just an example. You could kind of use some of this wording over here as well. It's really up to you what you want to put in there. So next section is connect and manage benefits. So this is, what benefits you get by subscribing. So do you want to give access to, for example, ability to have certain bookings with you, to participate in certain online programs, whether that's, a certain holiday or a Get Fit January program, or access to certain blogs or certain video channels on your program that they don't otherwise have access to. We're not going to do any of these. The only thing that we want to do is actually get them access to very specific pages, and that page is where you're going to host your full course, which will be linked to hidden videos on YouTube or videos on your own Vimeo channel. Now, pricing and duration. So this is really up to you. So do you want to do a one-time payment, which is how I do a lot of my other courses, or do you want to do recurring payments? So for example, a monthly or yearly fee. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a one-time payment of $99 just to start off with. In terms of setting a price for your own plan, it's really up to you in terms of what price range you want to set it at. What I have typically done for my other courses that I've built is you typically start off at a lower price point just to make sure that people aren't being scared away from your course just because it's too expensive. If you aren't making sales at a low price point, it's probably because the content's not good enough, or there are some other changes you need to make, which you can then go and change and start getting sales, right? And once you've actually started getting people to come and buy your course, you know that the course is good, the content is good, people are willing to pay for it, you can start putting up your prices. So for some of my education courses, I started off with $39, and I started putting up to $49, $59, $69, and eventually to where they're currently at $99. So it might make sense to actually start off with a lower purchase price, so maybe something like $49, until you've actually started making sales, and then you can start putting up the price to $99 or something like that. Or if it's a really, really good and comprehensive and massive course that you built with a lot of content, you could even do a really high priced one, like $2, $3, $4, $5, even $1,000, if people are willing to pay for it. Okay, so let's set 49 for now. We can always change it later. The length of the plan we want to do, this is basically how long they have access to it. So if I'm going to do until cancelled, which basically means that they have a lifetime access. They have a lifetime access to the course. Until cancelled. Okay, cool. Okay, so page permissions. So these are the pages that members on the plan have access to. So this is the critical function that we actually want to change, because we want to get them access to a very specific page. However, we haven't created that page yet, so it might be something that we actually have to come back and update later. So I'm actually going to leave that for now until we've actually created our course page, and then we can update our access. Okay, and then there's just some other settings before we save and exit this. So advanced settings, single purchase only, so limit this plan to one purchase per person. I mean, most people, they're only going to buy one, but for whatever reason, we don't necessarily want to tick that. Let's just leave it there. Do we want to allow people to cancel it? Yes. Doesn't really matter because it's a one-off payment, but I'll leave that ticked. Number 3, custom start date. If you wanted to do that, it doesn't really matter because we're going to prompt them for payment immediately. And then finally, having some policies like refund, etc. So I'd probably recommend adding some text around terms and conditions and refund terms here. But for now, just because we're still building the website, we're just going to click save. And all of a sudden that's updated, and we should go back You can see our full course access is there. So now when we go back to our main page, you can see our full course should pop up now, and there should only be one of them, which is the full course access. Awesome. Cool. So we've essentially finished our first page, which is our purchase course page. So the next page that we want to create is actually our course page. We want to create a full access to the course. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to just duplicate this page here, just because I'm going to keep the same kind of header and text here. Actually, I might just quickly update this paragraph here. We don't want any empty text. Purchase. Purchase. It's very laggy, apologies. Access to the full course by clicking below. I made a few spelling mistakes. I'll fix that up later so I don't have to waste your time. Okay, so what we're going to do now is create our first page, which is our actual course page. So we're going to duplicate this. So we are going to, how do I do that again? Okay, so I couldn't remember how to copy and paste it, but that's no problem, because what we can do is just create a new page from scratch, because all we've got here is just a header, and that's all we wanted to copy across really. So what we're going to do is we're going to go add new page, and we're going to go blank page, and even when we add a blank page, it's still going to copy across this header, because this header is going to be across every page that we have on the website, and it's going to copy across the footer, which is going to be across every page on our website as well. So here you can see we've got our new page which has popped up, and we're going to call this, we're going to try and replicate this full course. And this is the page, full course. And this is the page that only people who've purchased your course, actually I'm going to put it in caps to be consistent with the other pages. This is the page that only people who've purchased your course via this page can access. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to actually go to settings over here. And this is where you can go through and you can change certain settings in terms of who can access it. The SEO, which we'll cover a little bit later, which is basically to improve your ranking on Google, as well as what pops up when you share it on, in the name of the URL of your page and what's in the description, etc. So we'll cover all of that a little bit later. But the main point I wanted to go through with you here was this permissions page, which is how you restrict it. So we can do it so only people with a password can access it. So for example, maybe there's a live page that only you want to access on the site, so you can just add in a password prompt. But what we want to do here is we want to make this members only, just for the full course page. And this means that visitors need to sign up to see the page. But then it's asking us the question, which members do you want, right? Because you can be someone who signed up for your free course, who you've now got their contact details, but they're not a paying customer. So we need to specify that only selected members or paying customers can access it, not all members. So now we can choose from your member roles or from your pricing plans. So this is the one we want to select here. We want only those who have purchased our full course access, which is what we named our purchase course on the purchase course page. These other two up here, Platinum, Gold, they were just the plans that we have archived. So unfortunately, we can't delete it. They're still going to be there, so you just have to ignore it for now. But as we add new plans, they're going to pop up here as well. So basically what this means is, as if I click apply, is only people who've purchased the full course can access this particular page. And I'll show you what happens if you try and get in and you're not logged in and you haven't purchased the course. You get this login screen. Now if you try and log in, let's just say we log in with a Facebook account, and let's say I haven't purchased it, and I can't remember if I've done it with this Facebook account or not. Hopefully I haven't, so I can show you what happens. But it's going to pop up and say this page is only for subscribers. It's going to redirect you back to the purchase course. So if I click full course here, okay, I must have actually allocated it on that site to that Facebook account email, so you can ignore that. But in this instance, and I'll show you an example of that later, is that, you'll get blocked and you won't be able to access the page. Okay, cool. So we've done the first step. What I want to do is I wanted to copy the header from the purchase course. So we can do that fairly easily. We can just select our page up here, go to our purchase course, and we essentially just want to copy this strip. So I'm just going to select it, and everything on the strip will come across with it. So now I've copied that, I press Control C, and I'm going to go to our full course. And the reason I'm copying it rather than from creating it from scratch is I just wanted everything to be identical. The text to be the same, the size to be the same, the spacing to be the same, the color to be the same, just so that there's no issues when you click between pages that you're getting kind of these very big discrepancies between, images popping up and going away. It just makes it look a lot more professional. Okay, so that's been pasted in now. So we've got our plans and pricing from the previous page. I'm just going to edit this, and we're going to call this, full course. So I'm just kind of looking to this one for inspiration. So full course. Okay, so if you can see here, kind of an example of how we approach this site. So we've kind of got the introduction, which is kind of you getting started, and if you've got any kind of complimentary notes, whether that's PowerPoint presentation they can download, or an Excel file, and then an introductory video just to kind of get them familiar with how to use the page, how to get around. We've then kind of got dividers as we go down. So if you've got different sections, so for example, in our course, we've got our, conceptualizing the course, then designing the course, and then building the course. We might use this as our dividers, and also give the user to kind of move around and skip around using these anchors so they can jump to the relevant section very easily, or go to the top of the page. And within each section, we're also going to give them access to the actual section agenda, so they know each of the videos they're going to go through. And again, this is all linked to a data set that we've already built and is connecting through various different pages on your website. Now, each of the sections down here below will be your videos, and this will be linked to the data set as well. And these will all populate and based on repeater, so you don't need to manually recreate each one. You just need to create the first one and connect it to a data set. But that's basically the website, and we'll just have all our videos down like that. So in order to create this for our website, we're going to need a few things. So first of all, what we're going to need is our kind of introduction page. So what we can do is here, maybe we start off with a section with some text here. So we've kind of got that full course there. And then maybe we'll have a section which just covers kind of these videos. So the getting started, the key downloads, and the actual introduction video. So to do that, what we're going to need is, first of all, a new section. So if we just click here, new section. So that's just going to create that there. Okay, so my computer's a little bit slow just because I'm recording my screen at the same time. So you just have to bear with me. So I'm just creating a blank strip there, which has now been inserted. Okay, so I'm just going to make that a little bit bigger as well. So what have I got here? So I've got a box here, and a box here. So first step is to create a box, and very much in the same way that we did on the front page. So rather than repeat that process, what we can do is just go back to that home page and copy that element across, and we can just edit it that way. So let's go back to the home page. Okay, so I'll just skip ahead, go back to the home page and actually copy the element back to our main home page. And I might copy, so I'll copy this one here and just bring it across. So I'll skip ahead and do that now. Okay, so I've copied that across now, and I've updated the text to be fairly consistent with this other example over here. So I've kind of got the, the getting started. We don't have the links quite yet. We can add that in shortly. The key downloads section, I might put the PowerPoints as we go through some of the other videos where I discuss conceptually, why to sell courses online. I'll probably upload the PowerPoints there. But for your own courses, you could upload the PowerPoints. If you have any other kind of Excel workbooks or any other supporting documents, you can upload it there, or for each relevant section below, you can have a individual kind of download section there as well. You can kind of have your introductory video. I've just got a placeholder here. I know we haven't actually released the videos yet, but we'll update those later on. And just as a recap to how we did this, of course I covered this in the last video, but essentially you just want to create these boxes. You just want to go add box, and then basically I think I chose this one here, changed the color to white, added shadow, and then just copied and pasted some of the text from above and typed it out like this. And of course the ticks from the earlier video, I copied those across as well. But you can create your own ticks either from the Wix images. They've got a number of kind of images and icons available here. If you go to images, or you can search online for certain icons, or you can even go to a PowerPoint file and they've got a bunch of kind of cool icons in there that you can just save as an image and upload. So there's a couple of different options there. All right, so next section, what we need, if we're going back to our kind of target, is we need a divider for our kind of first section of videos. Then within that, we need a kind of section agenda, and we need our kind of repeater, which links into our videos. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a new divider. So we could just create a new strip here, color it purple, add in the text, or a quicker way of doing it is to actually, if you remember how to do this, press the zoom out button, then press this, duplicate. That will just create a copy of our kind of header section, and we can just then use this arrow to reorganize it. And I've moved this one down here. Just be careful because it does sometimes just create these weird spaces that you don't need. So you can just press delete space and that's perfect. So what we're going to do now is exit that, and I'm going to call this beginners. I'm going to type beginners there. Don't worry too much about these fancy kind of dividers. I can show you how to do that. Basically, this is a custom image that we've created in Canva. But for now, all we need is the rough framework. It doesn't need to be perfect. You can make it perfect over time. We're really just showing you how to get the building blocks there first. So we're going to call this one beginners, or for your section, it really depends on how you've set up your kind of notes. So if you have watched the videos on our course so far about designing your course, where we covered off, actually planning out your course and your videos, you will have had a table like this prepared, which is basically your brain dump of all of your videos by topic, by section, and kind of the key talking points of each. Now what we're going to do here is actually try and recreate this. So for example, instead of beginners, how I've kind of split my course up into, number one is the concept. So thinking about, why should you sell an online course? What are the benefits? Why is it better than other business models, other businesses? For example, self-education is more important. There's no cost of goods sold. There's high margin. Anyone can do it. There's no IP theft risk, things like that, right? The next section is about designing your course. So, okay, once you're convinced about selling a course is the right approach, how do you design your own course? Because you can't just go out and start building it straight away. Otherwise, it's not going to be well thought out. Therefore, it's not going to add value to your viewers, right? So this one's about kind of looking at some completed examples, looking at what you need to do to get to the end goal. And then it's thinking about, okay, what subject am I going to teach? Testing the idea, planning your content out, etc. Planning it is including building out these tables that you got here, which is your talking points. And then the final one is around just actually building it. So this is the kind of videos that you're watching right now, which is, actually going through and showing you how to build the website, each section of the website step by step. What are the things you need to think about? Building the YouTube, filming the videos, how do you actually set up the equipment, all that stuff. So that's how we're going to allocate it. So first section is going to be for us, or for me, I should say, is concept. Second is design. Third is building it, rather than beginners, intermediate, advanced. But depending on what kind of course you're building, for example, fitness, it would make a lot of sense to do beginners, intermediate, advanced, because you're building them up to kind of different levels of skill set, rather than dividing it up into different sections of the actual build. So it really depends on the course that you're teaching. If you're teaching a tutoring course, for example, it might make sense to just do it by sections of the actual agenda or the actual curriculum that you're teaching. If you're teaching someone about finance, you could potentially go the beginners, intermediate, advanced approach. It really depends on what you're teaching. So for this first one, what I'm going to do is, for the title, I'm just going to link this into concept. So I'm just going to call this section 1 concept. Section 1 concept. Perfect. And then maybe you can have some text down below just explaining what this section's all about. You might want to make it a little bit bigger so you've got enough space. So I'm just going to make this a little bit wider. So again, just provide some context for the user. The more information, the better, just so you can really frame what this kind of the subsequent videos are going to be out. This section outlines the key reasons you should start an online course, including the risks, benefits, considerations, and framework. So that's a good starting point. I'll fix the grammar, I'll fix the spelling mistakes. I might change that a little bit later. Again, it's just about creating the building blocks for now so we can perfect it a little bit later. And you can see here with this example, the context is just creating, it's basically setting, this section is for new users. And in fact, we've actually got some steps in here which allows them to skip to those later sections if they've already got an intermediate or advanced section. To do that, you can just create a button, but instead of linking it to a certain page, you can link it to an anchor, which is one of the options I walked through in my previous video, but we haven't actually set up the anchors quite yet. So we'll do that later. So the next thing that we want to do is let's add in a blank section. We want to create the section agenda next. And to do this, very similar to what we did on the home page, whoops, just got to create that. We just need a list, almost identical to what we did on the home page. So let's go back to that now, and we'll just copy it across rather than recreating the wheel. However, this time what we're going to do is we're actually going to create the Excel data set, because we're going to need this for our repeater to actually start showing the videos for our course as well. So, and then subsequently we'll go back and link this into the data set as well, so you can see how that works. So I'm just copying this from the home page. I'll also show you as a recap how to create this from scratch in case you missed the first video. So let's go to the full course. Okay. So let's paste this in here. There we go. And if you have a look back here, we might add some text like section agenda like that. So I might just copy one of these above. I'll just copy this text here. And move this down. Okay, and then I'll paste that there. And I'll call this section agenda. Now the benefit of doing it this way by setting a certain strip and making the text relatively general but then linking in the table into a data set, section agenda, is that later once we build out section 2 and section 3, we can just copy and paste or duplicate by doing this zoom out function and essentially duplicate it, move it down, and there's our section 2 and 3 already done. And the only thing we need to do is actually just relink the data set in here to our new data set for section 2 and 3. Okay, so if that's not making sense so far, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So as I said before, we need to connect this and also the repeater that we haven't created next, which is going to show our live videos one by one, into an Excel data set. So the way that we're going to do that is through a function called Content Manager down here, which in the last video, it doesn't necessarily show up by default. If you want it to show up, you have to add it in, and you can do that by going down here to the plus symbol and then going to Content Manager, and then it should have a prompt that says add this to your website. Just click through and all of a sudden it'll pop up down here. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new data set, because we need to basically link this in to a data set. And when I say data set, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a section called the data set concept, and it's going to have X number of rows, which is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I might add more later, but for now it's going to be kind of 7 videos in that section. And then once this is all linked up, this table is going to show 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other videos like this. So it's going to link directly in and just have the names of those. And later on, once we have the videos, it's going to have the URL of the video. So we can just link this repeater. We'll have the name pop up automatically. So just like it is here. I'm not manually typing these. It's popping up automatically because it's linked. And also with the video name and the video URL, it's doing the same. So you only need to create the repeater, and then this will all create automatically based on what's in the data set you've created. So if that's not making sense yet, maybe it'll make more sense if I actually show you. So let's click create data set here. This is going to populate a little kind of Excel spreadsheet icon. So I'm just going to drag it over here. So what this is basically putting an Excel spreadsheet on your website, basically, is how I think about it. But really it's a data set on your website. So I'm just going to click settings there. And it's going to ask us to choose a new collection. So because we haven't created any collections yet, we've only got this default which came with the website, we're going to create a new collection. You can also create a new collection just by going to this content and go create new collection. So this collection, I'm going to call it section 1 concept. So basically this section here. Section 1 concept. We want multiple items, that's fine. Let's press create. So it's working now for us. Okay, so it's going to pop up the content manager now. Okay, so if you're familiar with working with Excel, just think about it like a spreadsheet. You know, you've got our kind of different cells in here. It's blank because we haven't added it in yet. So what we can do is kind of add different headers along here. So kind of the key, sections we want is probably one in here, like, so we can put like a number or a letter just so we can kind of order the courses. So it's like 1, 2, 3 or A, B, C. Then we want kind of a title, and we want a video URL, because later on when we upload the videos after we've recorded it to YouTube, we want the actual link to that video. So it'll populate for something like this. So we're going to do 3 things in here. We're going to create a one called video name, and the field, we can ignore this. This is just kind of like, what's the nickname of it. This one here is kind of what type of data is going in it. Do you want text, which we want for a description? That's correct. But later on, if we wanted to link it into a website, like the link of the YouTube video, we might go URL. But you can also do all kinds of stuff with it, like link it into an image or this is probably too sophisticated for what we need, but you can do a lot with it. Now for now, because we're just doing a description in text, we're just going to go text. You don't need to worry about this stuff here. This is optional. This is to basically, help you remember what this field is all about, like what the data set actually is. And this one here is in case you're dealing with like personal information, like because you can create data sets to collect information from forms and things like that. So, are you connecting names, date of births, financial details? You don't need to worry about this because we're not dealing with that. So we're just going to click save. and that's now going to pop up in our kind of Excel spreadsheet or collection. So we've got our video name. I'm just going to maybe rename this one. You can call it title. I'm just going to call it a sort or order. And the reason I'm calling it this is because we'll have to tell them in what order to show the videos, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we just need something like that. We've got our video name, and the last thing is just video URL. So I'm just creating a new one there. This one, field type, I'm just going to call it URL. I'm going to save that there. And that's pretty much all we need to create a data set. Now, I haven't actually uploaded the videos yet to YouTube, so I'm going to leave these blank for now, and that's okay. But for the video names, I can actually type them in one by one. Now, I think you can copy and paste them in to save some time. I could be wrong. Yep, there we go. Okay, I'm just going to copy these ones too. So if you're doing it out of a Word document, you can save some time rather than having to retype it manually. There we go. And then in terms of the order, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go A, B, C, D. This is just so when it actually shows up in the list, it doesn't do it like alphabetical by title, for example, or age of the video. Like there's all kinds of ways you could sort the videos, but just having a dedicated kind of order or sort, you're not going to get confused about what order the videos should show up in. We'll just do it by alphabetical order. And again, I might update this later. I might add more in, but we've got a basic building block to work with. So there, we've created it. It's now linked in, so there's no more exclamation mark. You can see that data set is actually linked in onto our website now. It's connected to section 1 concept. Mode, read only. So some features on your website a little bit more advanced, but you can actually write to the data set. Like for example, you have a form, you can collect data from customers, it populates into a data set. Could be another way that you actually collect ratings for your website or reviews, things like that. For now, we're just going to keep it simple. Don't worry about it. Keep it as read only. Number of items to display. I think by default it stays at 12, but especially when we get to our videos, there's a high chance you might want to go more than 12. Like some of my courses have got like 30 plus videos, so I might actually want to just keep this as a high number in case we forget and we end up accidentally not showing a video. In terms of kind of your sort and your filter, we don't need to worry about filter, but sort, we do want to, as we discussed earlier, actually sort it by title. I think it was A to Z. That was the name of the field that we created. Okay, cool. So now what we want to do is actually link this table into the data set we just created. So to do that, we select the table and we click connect to data over here. So this is only going to allow us to select from data sets which are actually on our website. So for example, this one is on our website. So this is going to be an option and be the only option. So you can see here, section 1 concept data set is now showing up, which is perfect. And it's also going to ask us which do we want connecting to, like which column do we want it connecting to. So I think what we want is, we only want one column, right? Which is just going to be the video name. So I think what we want to do is maybe settings, layout maybe. We want to delete one of these. Manage table. Here we go. Manage table. So we want to get rid of one of the columns. So let's delete the order. So we've just got the video name. Okay, so there we have it. We've now got a working section agenda just like this. Now, depending on how high you want it and whether you just want to have the user to scroll down and see all the videos, that's perfect. I do see one issue here. We've got a blank row here that says video name, data. I'm just going to fix that up. So that is occurring because if we go back to our data set, I think we left a blank row in there, and that's just showing up there as a blank. I was trying to read blank data, and it's just putting it in kind of brackets saying I don't know what this is. So we need to just go back, open this up and delete that. So you can see there is the blank row. So we're just going to select that and delete that there. It's messed up the sort order. So that's because, you know, it just happens. But if you've specified what order to sort it in, it doesn't matter because it's going to show it in the right way either way. So I'm just going to click that and sort A to Z. So it should go explaining this section, blah, blah, blah. So that's all good. So let's go back and hopefully when we click save, it should update. There we go. So it's just loading and it should be in the correct order. There we go, perfect. So now we've got a working section agenda. And I might just make this a little bit shorter. Oops. There we go. Perfect. All right, so the next section that we're gonna do, and I might just end the video at that point, is to actually create our first repeater with the videos, which we're also gonna link into that same data set. Unfortunately, I don't have the video URLs because I haven't uploaded the videos to YouTube yet, but when I do, it's gonna look like this, but for now, all it's gonna be is like a blank placeholder. So what we wanna do is we're gonna create a new section, a new strip. So I'll just click there, add strip. We'll add a blank strip there. Okay, cool. There we go. I'm just gonna make it a lot taller. Now, instead of just dragging it down, another way to make it taller, because I want to make it a lot taller, and I'm a bit tired of just dragging it manually, is we can go to tools up here and go to toolbar. And this allows us to do a couple of things. Number one, if we click on a certain object, so in this case the strip, we can actually manually change the size of the object that we've selected or its location. And do a bunch of other things, like you can do it PowerPoint, like for example, arranging things, aligning things, changing the rotation of certain objects, all this stuff like that. But the key thing that we want to do here is actually just make this, I'm going to make it about 2000 pixels high. That was just a guess because I just wanted to make it roughly 4 times higher. Because if you remember from the other website, look, this is pretty long. There's a lot in there. All right. So the next thing that we want to do is to create a repeater. So we've actually got a repeater up here. I said that I created a box, but I actually created a repeater for this one over here. To create a repeater, what we want to do is we want to click add up here and then look for a box, I think it is. Or is it list? Themed box. Oh, here we go, repeaters. So it's in within list. And it's in the list section because it's about connecting to data. So what is a repeater? It's basically, it's something where you create one shape or one box or whatever it may be. So you can see a couple of examples, like, you know, boxes here, boxes there, circles there. You create one of them, you change the style in that, and it flows through to all of them. So you might have like 4 of them and it changes all of them at the same time. The other thing repeaters can do is you connect it to data. So you can just create one shape and then connect it to a data set like this one, and all of a sudden it'll flow down to the number of elements in the data set. So we've got 7 here at the moment. It's going to create 7 shapes just because we've connected to that data set. So it's really powerful creating for things like this, which is like a list of different videos connected to a data set. So what we can do here is, let's go to repeaters, and it really depends on kind of what style you want. It's up to you. We've got blank repeaters here, so maybe we choose one of these. Let's go with this one over here, and we'll drag it to our strip, like so. Okay, so as you can see, you make one change in a repeater, it's going to flow through to all of them. So, for example, we can increase the size of the top one, and it's going to make all of them the same size. So what I want you to do is make a style that you are happy with, but it also should be consistent with the rest of your website as well. So, you know, whether that's changing the rounding of the colors, changing the color of the box, This is what I've done in other websites, which is to create a white box, create rounded corners, create a shadow, and then maybe put some text in there as well. So it's basically just a copy and paste of this one up here. So, it's fairly easy to recreate that. You just go to select on the repeater, drag it down, and then you go design, which is this button here, and then border, we want to go maybe no border. For the corners, we want to go, let's say 30. So now they're rounded, as you can see down there. Is that kind of similar? Yep, that's kind of similar. Next, we want to create the background to be white. So we can change the background over here, I think it is. So let's create the color to be white. Apply, oops, color. Oops, I think I messed that up. Let me just undo that. I don't know what I did there, just made a mistake. So we want to change the color to be white. There we go. And apply to all items as well. Cool. And then we also want to change the shadow. So we want to enable shadow. And we want the shadow to be like a gray color. And we probably want to increase the distance. And now we've got a kind of similar, I think we lost the rounded corners there, so I might just have to do that step again. I might have accidentally undid that. Design, corners, 30. There we go. And I just make the shadow a little bit stronger too. Let's go 3 and 3. Something like that. Maybe a slightly lighter gray. So how's that? Does that look pretty similar? It's not too bad. Doesn't look too bad at all. Perfect. So the other things we need to do is actually add a YouTube video in there. So let's go add a YouTube video. I'll just drag that in there. And again, this is going to affect all of the items in this repeater because that's what it is. It's a repeater. It's very powerful because, imagine how long it would take to manually do all of these. And as soon as you need to do a single change, having to flow that through to all of the items is a nightmare. Okay, so we've got our video in there, and then the last thing we do is just to add text. So let's just copy this text from up here, make it consistent. Copy that there. Whoops. Let's drag that in here. It's now attached to the repeater. It should hopefully flow through to all of them now. Now I won't make this super pretty because I'll do that in my own time, and you probably got your own designs that you want to do, but I'm gonna try and aim for something like this at the end of the day. I like how it looks. That's the style that I'm used to. But feel free to create whatever style, shape, size of the video, etc. that you want to do. I'm just showing you the rough way to do this. Now the final step in creating your repeater is to select it and connect it to data. So select your repeater, connect to data, same way you did above. and we're going to be prompted with, when it loads, to choose which data set you want to connect it to. In this case, I'm going to go section 1 concept data, and then it's going to give me 3 items, basically the key elements that I've already built so far. Number 1 is the video player, like what is the URL of each of the videos in the list that you've created. I'm going to link that to the video title is going to be video name, and the video source is going to be connected to video URL. Of course, I haven't created those URLs, so it's just going to be blank, or keep this blank image, I think. Now, if I go back to the other connections, text should be connected to the video name, same as before. So that's just going to update that text so that it flows through. So this will be the first video, this will be the second video, and so forth. And the final one is background. Like if you wanted to change the background image of it, you know, as I said before, with data sets, you can create it linked to images, you can create it linked to videos, whatever you want. I'm just going to leave it blank because we don't need to change the background at all. We can just do that manually. It doesn't need to be connected to a data set. So already you can see that's updated. You can see this is explaining this section, why sell courses. So each of the videos is now flowing through in your repeater list, which is awesome. Now, I'm gonna, in my own time, I'm gonna make this look a lot prettier. I'm gonna probably try and match this style. I'm just gonna clean it up, but you know, I don't need to take up your time in the video doing that, of course, when it might not even be relevant to your own design style or how you want to design your website. But now you've got a rough understanding of how we actually build a full course. So the only remaining steps of this is, just to give you some context, is to finish this design. Then once we're happy with that design, duplicate this. So we've got section 2, section 3, and then we've created a different data set for each of those. And then that's pretty much it for the full course. We just need to actually build and upload the videos, and then we've got a fully functioning course ready to go. Now, in terms of the trial course, I think I'm actually going to wait until we have built out this full course before I show you how to do that. But conceptually, how we're going to approach it is we're just going to duplicate this full course, but instead of giving them access to all the videos, what we're going to do is, you know, we're going to duplicate this page, but for each of these data sets over here, we're going to go settings, and instead of showing 50 items, we're only going to go, say, 3, right? Because when we do 3, what happens is, if I just update that and just refresh it, wait for it to save, this section here is only going to show 3 videos instead. You know, that's and it'll flow through to everything we've kind of linked in here that's connected to this particular Excel as well. So that's basically how we're going to approach the free trial, but pretty much which should just be a direct copy. So you can see there we've only got 3 videos in this section, which is perfect. And that way, you know, they'll only see a trial of your course, but they'll get a flavor for it and want to purchase the full course. Plus, we'll add in some sections around kind of adding buttons to purchase the full course, maybe some customer feedback, things like that, just to drive them towards the sale. But otherwise, in principle, we've essentially finished the full course. But in the meantime, I'll update the style of this. In the next video, I will build out the rest of the full course. I'll add in the anchors and just tidy it up a little bit, get it to ready to the point of completion that we can just start working on the YouTube videos and actually uploading those. So hopefully you found this useful, and I'll end the video there. So thank you for watching.